They literally just have no respect for anything, and I'm really tired of it. I'm not the only person complaining about this. There are other black people in the rental car space and YT people and other people of all races that say black people are the #1 problem when it comes to this business. You all have no respect. You tear down everything. You smoke and burn up cars. You do everything. As a matter of fact, one of the worst situations I've also had is when a black woman took my car to South Carolina, left it there, and said she's not returning it because she doesn't feel like it. So a tow truck had to drive from Florida all the way to South Carolina to pick up the car. That's just disrespectful and wrong.
Why are people acting like they're about to start boycotting Walmart because they no longer want to be a part of diversity, equity, and inclusion and identity politics, and they just want to sell the best products? They want the best people that got the best products in order to be on their shelves. But then y'all want to act like y'all all upset. You know what? I never seen anybody apologize for supporting Black Lives Matters.
Oh, the black dollar is speaking loud in Walmart. Like, I am walking around here. It's 6 a.m. in the morning, and there is no brown person like myself. Let me turn the camera and show y'all. Look around here. First of all, it is empty. Like, where is the people? Nobody in here. Y'all, literally. Last year, time like now, at 6 a.m., in here would have been packed. Look at this. Look at this.
Black spending power reached a record $1.6 trillion in 2021. The ability to buy, save, and invest more than doubling since 2000. That growth exceeding the full U.S. economy, but actually lagging other ethnic groups. Latinos with a 288% increase. Asians with a 388%.
Walmart, the nation's largest private employer, just announced it is rolling back its diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives amid outcries over so-called corporate wokeism and claims that DEI is more divisive than inclusive. Walmart says it's ending racial equity training programs for staff, evaluating programs designed to increase supplier diversity, reviewing funding of pride events, and removing sexual or transgender products marketed to children. Now, Walmart defends the move, saying, quote, "We have been on a journey. I know we aren't perfect, but every decision comes from a place of wanting to foster a sense of belonging." Other companies making similar moves. They include Harley-Davidson, Tractor Supply, and John Deere.
So Walmart decided to roll back its diversity, equity, and inclusion policies. The MAGA movement has won. And the MAGA movement does not want to support that initiative. So Walmart says, hey, the right has a lot of money and the left doesn't have a lot of money. So they decided to go with the MAGA movement and roll back the diversity and inclusion policies. It's like the Waltons family is not rich enough.
So it's looking like Walmart is having a really rough day, as they should. They didn't hesitate to show us who they were the first chance they got. Before the orange man even took office, they let us know that we were not welcome there. Oh, they will sure take our money, but they don't want us involved in the hiring process. They don't really want us employed there. If they don't want us employed there and they don't want to give us equity, then we don't want to give them our money. They must have thought that Trump was the one shopping at their stores. Did all of this for a man who would never step foot in your store. You forgot we don't want to pay the bills. We're the customers. We keep the doors open. But since you don't want diversity and inclusion in your stores, we will spend our money elsewhere.
Black people in America flipped out. They flipped and they say, ha! Isn't that Mr. T who is making Walmart rich? It is our money that's making Walmart rich. And my question is this a knee-jerk reaction from black people in America? Or will this kind of boycotting hold?
We're not poor, we're just broke. Our money goes in one direction, away from us, and we're some of America's most conspicuous consumers. We are a $1.1 trillion annual economy. If we were a nation, we would be the 16th richest nation in the entire world. But again, our money goes in one direction, away from us, and we're some of America's most conspicuous consumers. And we will not stop buying from people who will not support us. We are addicted to consumption.
Is this kind of boycotting gonna hold? Or what Walmart is going to do, just wait for a few days or a few weeks and lower the prices and see if those disgruntled customers not gonna come back in?
Why do you think black people should be intentional about supporting other black people?
Because this question is not asked to any other ethnicity. In the Asian community, the dollar circulates 24 times before they give it to somebody else. In the Jewish community, 17 times. In the Latino community, 12 times. In the white community, 9 times. For black people, we have our check in just 30 minutes before we give our money to somebody else.
Black people destroyed my rental car business, and I am forever done. As of January 1st, 2025, I am closing doors on my rental car business. I have 15 cars, and trust me, it's been nothing but a lot of problems when it comes to my own people. That's really sad. You would think black people would support a black business and treat it kindly. However, they have treated me extremely bad. Now, I'm not here to say that there wasn't any problems with other races of people. However, I will promise you 90% of my problems were from my own people. As an example, here in Orlando, we just had the football classic weekend, and lots of people fly in from all over the country to come to the college football classic weekend. They drive in. It was thousands of people that poured into the city. I rented my cars out for the Orlando classic weekend, and a lot of my cars came back. Rims are scratched up. One guy totally destroyed a $2,500 rim to my Mercedes. Burn marks in my seats, burn marks in the center console on the leather. I mean, they literally just have no respect for anything, and I'm really tired of it. I'm not the only person complaining about this. There are other black people in the rental car space and YT people and other people of all races that say black people are the #1 problem when it comes to this business. You all have no respect. You tear down everything. You smoke and burn up cars. You do everything. As a matter of fact, one of the worst situations I've also had is when a black woman took my car to South Carolina, left it there, and said she's not returning it because she doesn't feel like it. So a tow truck had to drive from Florida all the way to South Carolina to pick up the car. That's just disrespectful and wrong.
The collective spending power for black people in America is almost $2 trillion. Collectively, black people are rich, filthy rich. However, individually, some of us are doing well, but the majority are poor. And I'm trying to figure out, but if we pool all of that money together, we don't need Walmart. We don't need Amazon. We don't need all of those companies who are ending diversity and equity inclusion. We can build our own, but the problem is that if we build our own businesses, is our own black people willing to support us? Talk to me, people. Talk to me. Drop your comments. Let me know what you think. Am I talking facts here?
Why are black people so hard on other black people? Why is it that we can't just support the next black person without having to criticize each and everything that they do? If you like it, you like it. There's no need for you to sit up there and criticize that person. That's why they always say white people make black people rich. As much as we want to cater to the black audience, we have to consider the white audience too, because we know how y'all get sometimes.
You would think that black people have made financial progress over the last 160 years. But I have some news for you. We haven't. Yes, we have black billionaires now, like Robert Smith, Dave Stewart, Oprah, Michael Jordan, and they're killing it, man. And yes, the black middle class has also grown, but probably not in the ways that you think. You see, when the Emancipation Proclamation was signed in 1863, listen to this, the black community owned 0.5% of the wealth in the U.S. By the way, that is 0.5% of the wealth in the United States, which ain't a lot. Now, because slaves couldn't own anything, that's not surprising because black people, we didn't even have the opportunity to accumulate wealth back then. But you want to know something mind-blowing? Today, more than 160 years later, the percentage of wealth that black people own in the United States is, guess what? Guess how much? 1%. It has barely budged. So right now, today, black people only own about 1% of the total wealth in the United States. So it may seem like we've come a long way, and a select few really have. But collectively, we have barely moved the needle.
I am in my early 50s. And since I was a boy growing up, I realized that it's difficult. I'm being real with you. Black people do not support each other's business. I'm keeping it real. I'm not going to mince words. I used to own 2 restaurants in Toronto. And I will never forget one of my co-workers from the company I work for. She said when she came in the restaurant, she said, I'm not going to come and buy from you. And I looked at her. And she said, because you're going to get rich off me. I never forgot those words. I have to look in the mental psyche of why we think the way we do. The Bible says, a nation or a people divided amongst themselves will never stand. On the flip side, I have learned in politics that an organized group will always dominate a disorganized group. If you pay close attention, the Chinese, the Indians, and the Jewish people in America, they do not demonstrate. Yes, maybe in COVID, the Chinese got upset and get their Asian bill passed. But they don't demonstrate. Why? Because they manufacture, they produce, they own the stores, and they support each other. We don't, and that's a fact. That is why we can make up noise. But if we have $1.6 trillion in buying power, why is it we're demonstrating our Walmart when we can build our own? People don't make no sense. All Walmart is gonna do, just time them out, wait, lower the prices, and trust me, they'll be right back in the stores again.
Black people's brains have been hardwired where we connect happiness to spending. We have to disconnect the wire in our brain from happiness and spending and take it from happiness to saving and happiness to investing. Do you know that rich people stay rich because they pretend to be poor? And poor people stay poor because they pretend to be rich. We spend money. We literally are trying to buy respect, and we go broke trying to look rich. So when the math is done, I was talking to a brother in our barbershop one day, and I was telling him that when you have enough on the inside, you don't need the stuff on the outside to make you feel like you are something. And the brother, look, he verified the position. He said, you know what? I'm gonna tell you the truth. Me and my guys was out. We went to out of town, and we was on our way to go to the club. And whenever we started getting dressed, my partner realized that he had left his jewelry. And the minute that he seen that he didn't have his jewelry, I noticed that he got sad. And he didn't even go with us. Next day, I went down to the counter at the hotel room, and he was opening up a package. He had somebody overnight his jewelry to them. And when he grabbed the jewelry out, he took his watch, his chain, and put it on and told me, hey, I'm back. But he never went nowhere. Problem is that he felt a sense of worth from what he put on the outside of himself. But the real sense of worth doesn't come from the jewel you put on your finger, your wrist, or your necklace. The real sense of worth comes from the jewel you put in your mind with knowledge, wisdom, understanding, discipline, and character.
Anybody know who Willie Lynch was? Anybody? Raise your hand. He was a vicious slave owner in the West Indies. The slave masters in the colony of Virginia were having trouble controlling their slaves, so they sent for Mr. Lynch to teach them his methods. Keep the slave physically strong, but psychologically weak and dependent on the slave master. Keep the body, take the mind.
The most important thing we needed after Emancipation Proclamation and the abolition of slavery in the Caribbean is resocialization, education, and discipline. The colonial overlords free black people but never rebuild them back to a level of simple thinking. I remember the former Prime Minister of Jamaica, Michael Manley, he said the worst form of enslavement is mental enslavement, because a person is enslaved but don't even know that they're enslaved. My point is that if you say you're educated and don't know who you are, then you're miseducated. And why do I say that? Because I've observed in Jamaica that most of the big businesses are controlled by Chinese, Syrians, Indians, Jews, and white. If you go anywhere in Jamaica nowadays, most of the big supermarkets are controlled by Chinese. Chinese will come from China and India with small amount of money and in no time become millionaires and billionaires. If you look in Canada, most of the black neighborhoods, Chinese owns the big supermarkets. I'm not beating Chinese. They found the need and they're filling it. But there's something wrong with the black psyche. We will spend our money with every other race of people except ourselves. And then we complain, why the system cheating us? Why are we so? Why are we discriminated against? We're discriminated because we don't understand power. Power responds to two things. Is that an organized group or you have a whole lot of money? If you don't have any of those, power don't listen to you.
I don't care what anybody else talks about in America. It's not worthwhile wasting your time. The problem in America is not drug abuse, crime, low-income housing, public housing, food stamps, welfare, teenage pregnancy. Those are symptoms of a problem. The symptoms are the fact that you don't own and control anything to run you and control your lives. That's the problem.
The impact of the Walmart Black Friday boycott. In 2024, Black Friday online sales in the U.S. soared to a record-breaking $10.8 billion, a 10.2% increase from the previous year's $9.8 billion. However, while the retail industry celebrated this surge, Walmart saw a different narrative unfold. In-store traffic at Walmart declined by 3.2%, signaling the potential influence of the nationwide boycott led by black consumers in response to the company's rollback of diversity and equity initiatives. This action was not just symbolic, it demonstrated the power of collective consumer behavior to disrupt even the most established corporations. While Walmart's overall profits may not have plummeted, the visible dent in foot traffic sends a clear message. Ignoring the voices of marginalized communities has real economic consequences. Imagine the amplified impact if this energy were focused on uplifting Black-owned businesses and creating economic ecosystems within our communities. This moment is proof that the Black dollar is a force to be reckoned with, especially when wielded with purpose and unity.
The MAGA movement caught fire. The companies are shifting because they want to make a profit. And at the end of the day, who is going to get the SHITTY end of the stick? Because we have no organizational power and we have no economic clout. So power don't need to listen to us.
Something that I'll never understand is why in the Black community do we not support each other the way other communities support each other? Like, why is everything a competition? And then it's like you will support someone until they become too big. Next thing you know, now we're bashing them. Like, why can't we all come together and actually support one another the way that we need to? It's just a question, because I just don't understand. I'll never understand why. Like, why?
The colonizers have done such a great job of dividing us as Black women and Black men. From slavery to the 80s crack epidemic to now with social media, we are more divided than ever. And I pray that we can put our differences aside, heal ourselves as individuals, and come together and structure better family units moving forward. Because if we don't fix our beefs internally, then we're just going to continue this nasty narrative. And I don't see no other race grieving and like beefing publicly. I don't. So I pray that we get it together. I pray that we heal ourselves as individuals. And if we can't do it in our generation, then help the younger generation make better decisions and choices.
How many farms do we own? How many foods we process? How many supermarkets we own? And then we're complaining when Walmart decided to end the diversity and equity inclusion policy. Because in our psyche we have to rely on massa in the 21st century to feed us when collectively we are rich.
It's not that black people don't support other black people. We are not used to being responsible for building our own institutions. Are you following me? If I was opening up a nightclub, some sort of a basketball league, I would have the support. But we are not accustomed to being responsible for building our own institutions. So for example, if you look around America, can you show me a single independent black community in 50 states? 50 states, you can't show me one black community where we own the hospital, the bank, the school, and the supermarket. So those are the 4 essential institutions of an independent community. You don't have those 4 in any black town anywhere in the United States, and we are a $2 trillion people. How do you explain that?
Black spending power reached a record $1.6 trillion in 2021. The ability to buy, save, and invest more than doubling since 2000. That growth exceeding the full U.S. economy, but actually lagging other ethnic groups. Latinos with a 288% increase, Asians with a 388%.
People, drop your comments, tell me what you think. Is the whole boycott of Walmart worth it for the long term? Or is it just a knee-jerk reaction? On that note, Jamcan is out. And it's the Walmart boycotting I is trying to decipher out. People, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And see you in the next video. And let's build our own enterprises so we don't have to rely on others. You get it? Yeah.